Oh, yeah. How are we doing, everybody? What is going on? I hope we all enjoyed a nice Labor Day weekend. I believe that is just for my United States friends. I took some time off. I'll tell you a little bit about that. But before I do, I just want to welcome you to the show. Today, we're going to be talking about the third and final discipline or foundational disciplines of masculinity that I've kind of derived and found that men need to start to focus on approaching the times that we're approaching. So we're going to discuss shooting. We're going to discuss the difference between shooting and marksmanship. We're going to talk about which guns that you should start off with. We're going to talk about how you could practice at home, keeping it on the cheap. And then we'll go a little bit deeper as well into the evolution once you get a grasp of the concepts. So I hope you enjoy the show today. Please do hit the like button if you are in the chat or if you're watching live right now. And as always, what's really going to help me out is sharing this content. A share helps more than you know. So please, please, please go ahead and do so. With that said, let's give you guys a little bit of an update. Obviously, I show up kind of whenever the fuck I want to because I'm doing my own thing right now. I'm doing a bunch of different stuff. Last week, I kind of noticed, man, my energy levels were all over the place and all that good stuff. Got back into fighting pretty much as like the predominant form of physical fitness for me right now, that and lifting. And I was just kind of like all over the place. So I sat back and I was like, you know what I need to do? I'm feeling it. I haven't done it in a while. I really took a break off of doing this, even though now I'm trying to really focus on that. But I did a 3-day fast, 72-hour fast. Yeah, and that was actually pretty brutal. The longest I've ever gone was 88 hours. And normally in that time frame, my fasting, I could fast pretty easily. The first 2 days of the 72 hours of this one were pretty easy. Day 3 was tough as hell for me, though. I don't know what changed. I don't know what was going on. So I fasted last week for 3 days straight, rocked and rolled on that. And yeah, it was good. It was good. Cleanse a lot of stuff. The reason why I do that is obviously just to like cleanse everything out. So because I've been focusing on bodybuilding a lot more too and doing like a bodybuilding diet and bouncing between cutting and not bulking, but cutting and not cutting. That's what my focus was on for like the last year and a half. So I never really threw the extended fasts in there. So I was like, all right, it's time. I got to do it. I got to do some cleanup. So did that last week, feeling better now. I think I ended my fast on Friday night, hammered out a good 1.5 pound ribeye. Oh, absolutely remarkable. Absolutely delicious. Smashed some steaks and I had some protein waffles as well with sugar-free syrup. Oh, man, it was good. I had to get some carbs back in me because I was going to jiu-jitsu the next day. I actually freaking did jiu-jitsu last week too, while fasted on my 48 hours. Like at the 48-hour mark, I went and did jiu-jitsu. It was the worst I've ever performed in my life. I don't know what I was expecting. I was also doing like no caffeine as well, which was terrible. Oh, so there's that. And then I kind of just took the weekend. I was going to come on yesterday, but I figured because it was a holiday, no one was really going to be on, much like we're seeing right now. Nobody's really on. So that's why I'm here. Let's finish off the series. The 3 foundational disciplines or the 3 foundations of masculine discipline. But before I do, we'll get into my fragrance of the day. But before I get into the fragrance of the day, let's answer this one question. What do you think about glucose as a sweetener? I don't use it. I'm very, very conscious whenever it comes to a sweetener. Obviously, calories is one, but glycemic index as well. I am very insulin resistant. So I have to eat things whenever it comes to a sweetener. I have to eat a sweetener that's very low on the GI or glycemic index. So actually my go-to sweetener right now, It used to be previously it was stevia, but stevia it's weird. It kind of gives me headaches and it doesn't taste that good. So I actually went over to a monk fruit sweetener anytime I have my carb days, and I put that in my oatmeal for my first meal to sweeten up my bland plain oatmeal, which is actually fucking awesome. It is very similar to sugar, but it's not as sweet. So I like it. I think it's amazing. So that's what I use as sweetener. It all depends on your insulin resistance and what glycemic index you could operate in. So I have to stay with low glycemic stuff. What's up, Michael McDonald? How we doing today? All right. I hope that answered your question. Let me know if you've ever used monk fruit sweetener. I think the brand Lakota, that's something that you could look up. It's pretty cheap. You can get it on Amazon. It's good stuff. I'd recommend moving over to monk fruit sweetener over anything else. Cool. Monk fruit is technically a spice. Yeah. Stevia is a root too. So anyway, let's get on to the fragrance of the day. All right. Fragrance of the day. I've been wanting to talk about this for a while. I've never talked about it before. I wore a different fragrance earlier to the gym just based off of my mood and the environment, if that makes any sense. But for a while, I was wearing this nearly every single day. I fell in love with it. Cool. Good stuff. Glad to hear from you. What's going on, Ray? Lacano, there you go. That's the name of it. I'm not perfect. All right. So the fragrance of the day today is Carolina Herrera Men Privé. This is an amazing scent. It's a little bit different. It's up my alley. I'm very what's it called? Let's throw some on just so I can get the notes. All right. Whew, man. It's very boozy. Very boozy. It's got a scent of whiskey right off the bat. There's a little bit of spice to it due to the cardamom. But as it settles down, it sweetens up a little bit as well due to the tonka bean, which gives a little bit of a scent of vanilla as well. I've heard there's some grapefruit in there, but you don't get a lot of fruity notes, but it's kind of in there. I'm going to give you a list of the notes that you're going to get from it. And then I'm going to tell you what I normally pick up on it. So it's a leather fragrance. So you do get a lot of leather from it as well. It's not too bad. Like, for instance, the booziest, leatheriest fragrance I've ever smelled in my life is from Varvatos, and it's called Dark Rebel Rider. That is just straight up like whiskey and leather, and that's all it is. It's like if you could just put whiskey and leather together into a fragrance with a little bit of like baby powder, I think, to kind of make it a little bit sweet. But this is elegant. This is like elegant leather with like a nice fine whiskey. So whiskey, grapefruit, and pomelo. Middle notes are cardamom, lavender, sage, and red thyme. You can definitely pick up the thyme and cardamom. Sage too, maybe a little bit, but not too much. Lavender, not so much. Base notes are leather, tonka bean, and woody notes. Absolutely, for sure. I am a huge fan of this Varvatos. Huge fan of this. And as you can tell too, just looking at the bottle as well, very elegant, nice little flip top too, gold and black. I was rocking this to the gym every single day for quite some time. I just really loved it. And I think I was throwing on either some tobacco vanille as well on my I was throwing some tobacco vanilla as well on my wrists just to kind of sweeten it up, have a little bit of something. I like to throw it on there. This is pretty, I don't want to say it's elegant, but it can be elegant. I would actually more wear this more towards the autumn. This is more of like a fall scent, but for some reason, when I first got it, I wasn't too impressed with it. I was like, okay, that's nice. Didn't really want to wear it a lot, but something picked up. I ended up really enjoying it. Started wearing it to the gym. The reason why I like to wear it to the gym, and this is something I got to talk about with you guys too as well, is the types of fragrances that I see a lot of men wearing to the gym are way too masculine and way too like in people's faces, right? They're wearing more of like a cologne style where it's like, hey, I'm a man and I'm here. And it's more of like the older style stuff too. And I don't like that. That's not my personality. That's not the type of person I am. I also don't like to wear big projectors. So a projector is something that's going to reach out and touch someone from a distance. This is not very big on projection. You have to get within about a foot of me to really start to pick up on the notes. Or if, like I walk by and I'm kind of close or whatever, you might pick up something. It's to me, I really enjoy it. It's even though I wore it to the gym, like it's very clean. It's got a freshness to it as well, and it breaks up the monotony of like what other people do as well. Try wearing women's perfume. So that's the thing, is that I actually wear a lot of unisex. Wear a lot of unisex fragrances. Mainly because they mix well on my skin. And they present different notes. And this is something I'm about to discuss too as well. So last week I kind of talked about it, but this is something I want to give over to you guys right now as well. There's a difference between designer and boutique, right? So designer are more along the lines of, I'm not a fan of Chanel stuff. Anyway, I keep listening to the comments and commenting on that. But so there's a difference between designer and boutique. I highly recommend that everyone gets into designer to start off with. So designer is going to be more of like what you're going to find at like a Macy's, Nordstrom's. That's where I would go to pick some stuff up. It's going to have the designer names. I mentioned Prada last week. This is where you're going to get some of the base level Chanel's. This is where you're going to get Gucci and your like Armani and stuff like that too. I highly recommend you go and get those to start off with, to figure out which genre, which niche, kind of like what specifically what notes you like, right? So here's the difference though. When you go and you get designer versus boutique, the thing that I've noticed with designer, number one, you're going to be paying a lot less. It's not going to be as expensive. The next thing is this, you're going to be running into the cases where other people might be wearing the exact same stuff. And the biggest downfall of wearing anything designer is due to the synthetic stuff that they put in these fragrances. They don't evolve. Now, what do I mean by evolve? When you start wearing more niche boutique fragrances that have a lot of different natural ingredients or good quality ingredients, when you spray it on, it's going to have the initial smell. And then as you start to wear it more and more, and as time goes on, you're going to smell the evolution of it. There's going to be other notes that come up, the way that it interacts with your skin. It's going to start to evolve to a different scent. Designer fragrances, from what I noticed, once you spray it on, that's the smell you're going to be stuck with for however long lasting that specific fragrance is. I evolved from going designer and finding out what I like to moving into boutique later. Now, the downfall with boutique, more of those niche fragrances, which I'll start to discuss further, they're going to be expensive. And because they're niche, they're going to be the types of things where it's like, you're not sure, right? You're like, I don't know. It's like when I first picked up Tom Ford fucking Fabulous. I sprayed it on. I did that, and I did Oud Wood. And I was like, man, this is amazing, but I just don't know. I don't know. And it wasn't until I started smelling it. I kept smelling it in the same spot over and over and over. Fucking Fabulous for like 2 days. And I was like, all right, now I need to go buy it. Cause like I'm absolutely in love with this stuff now. But you with boutique, I highly recommend Max Aroma. I think there's another one that Philip Franklin mentioned, where you could order samples of things that you are, number one, really expensive, and two, you're not sure about. and rock the sample first. I got a bunch of samples that I'll share with you guys as well. I did this with Le Labo as well. I got a sampler pack from them because everyone was recommending it to me. They're like, hey, man, Santal 33, all this other stuff, blah, 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 blah. I almost ordered some. I almost ordered Santal 33 on its own. But I said, you know what? Let's go and get the sample pack. Got the sample pack, and I just didn't like any of the fragrances. None of them. Santal 33 is not bad. Not bad, but it's not $180 in my opinion. I didn't like it. It was just reminded me too much of it. It's like New York City. Like that was just like a New York East Coast common smell that everyone wore. And I was just like, nah, not my style. So anyway, with that said, highly recommend you give this one a try if you can find it. It's also relatively priced well. I like it. If you like leather and booze, very, very mild though in a way. It's done right. It's done elegantly. It's not pungent. It's not going to kick you in the face. I like it. I've gotten compliments on it. So that's why I throw that out there. So enjoy that one. But let's move on. If you haven't hit the like button, please do hit that like button. Also, if you'll see in the description, please, please, please send some donations. That would be epic. I'd very much appreciate that. And if you want to discuss or talk to me in a DM fashion to help out with the channel, give me some topics that you'd like to hear about, please do follow me on Twitter, A God Amongst Men 2. You'll find that link in the description as well. And we could be friends on Twitter. With that said, let's move into the main topic today. Today, we're discussing the third foundational masculine discipline, and that is of shooting. I know. Why specifically shooting, though? Why not weapons training? Shooting is the ultimate equalizer. That's really what it comes down to. So we've talked about lifting up to this point. We've talked about fighting up to this point. If you have all of those things in your foundation, there's still one thing that is the ultimate neutralizer to either your strength or your ability to fight, and that is someone with a gun, right? Honestly. Knives, we could talk about different things. Regardless, you're going to get cut, but are you going to die? Not necessarily. All right. So what does that mean for you? Well, it means even if you lift and you're healthy and you're strong and you're able-bodied, even if you're a proficient fighter now at this point in time, you also want to be the person that can shoot, that can carry a weapon, that is familiar with weapons, and is familiar with scenarios by which you may need to use that weapon. So with that said, let's discuss what's the difference. There's a difference. There is. There's a difference between marksmanship and shooting. I want you guys to digest that really quickly, right? Because although the two may be synonymous, they are not equal. They are not the same thing, right? People sit there and they'll say, yes, they are. What are you talking about? No. There's a difference between being a shooter, much like there's a difference between being a fighter and a lifter, right? A shooter is someone who is proficient with the scenarios and the abilities by which they need to shoot. A marksman, someone who practices marksmanship, is someone who can stay in a steady, stable environment and practice the accuracy of that weapon. You guys understand the difference? One is sitting. So marksmanship, let's talk about, is just the practice of aiming and going through your basic levels of how can I explain it? Marksmanship, right? Breath control, trigger control, sight alignment, sight picture, and getting that round into the exact specific location that you need to get it to. Okay. But marksmanship forgoes the actual reality of a combat scenario. This is kind of like the difference between what I discussed last week with martial arts. You can be a karate black belt, practicing your kicks and doing all these things and getting in your stances and all this other shit. But what's the thing that's missing? The thing that's missing is the actual application to a fight. You can be a karate black belt and still be shit in a fight. Why? Because you're not accustomed to it. You don't understand the dimensions, the nuance that occurs within a real actual fight. The same can be said for a marksman. Okay. So what is a shooter? And why do you need to learn to shoot to become a shooter? Learning to shoot is understanding all the things that marksman teaches you and then adding on the dimensions of a combat scenario. Drawing your weapon, the stance you need to get into, how to pull it out, how to present, approximately how many rounds, how many rounds you're going to fire, how many targets you have to go after, what lies beyond it, how you're going to have to move, understanding how you're going to have to reload, right? Understanding how to move through certain environments, what weapon you're going to have to use, right? How much ammunition you're going to have to carry. These are all the tactics that you're going to have to start to think about when becoming a shooter. It's not just about pointing and shooting. A lot of people, they're very, they talk about when it comes to women, right? When it comes to women are naturally, from what I've seen, believe it or not, I shouldn't say naturally, but I've seen a lot of women that have been able to be good marksmen. Very good marksmen. You'll see this in the Olympics and a lot of stuff like this, right? Like women are on par. It's the only event that women are on par as far as performance is concerned as men. The only difference is that, so it's accuracy that I'm talking about. The other difference that actually separates men and women in the forms of marksmanship, though, is time. Men could accomplish nearly the same marksmanship accuracy as women, but they do it in a far faster time, right? And what does this mean? Well, it means that what it means is that men have adapted to be able to input all this information and manipulate tools in a far faster way, right? The next thing is when it comes to marksmanship in women, and then you throw them in a tactical situation, all that shit goes out the window. And we can see this a lot with female officers in today's world. I bring this up. Why? Because this is a masculine foundation. This is a masculine discipline. We are our whole entire system, body, structure, mindset, everything is designed for this, right? It's your responsibility. It's your responsibility to protect your life. It's your responsibility if you want to be able to protect your family or your resources, right? That's why it's absolutely necessary. And the fact of the matter is, and we've talked about this previously, and it's been said for a long time now, when shit gets going, you're not going to be able to just call the cops. They're not going to show up on time. You have to take matters into your own hands. So, I was actually fortunate enough to, I paid for it, so not really fortunate enough, but I went through this course last November, where I went through one of the best tactical shooting with a pistol, tactical shooting courses I think I've ever been through, where I learned and relearned how to go through and clear buildings with just a pistol. It was absolutely fantastic, right? Learning how to draw, learning how to maneuver into a building, how to pie the doors properly with just a pistol. And we went through live scenarios with, they're not sesams. I forgot the name of the rounds we used, but they're little paint rounds. Absolutely awesome. So we did it live with those people, and then we did it with targets as well, right? Where we went through a house and cleared a house just with a pistol, having to go through mag changes, having to go through malfunctions, clearing an entire building with just a pistol and 2 extra magazines. And it was absolutely epic. And what was taught through that was like I discussed, right? So I already understood marksmanship. I already understood how to manipulate the weapon and how to put rounds on target. But the next added element to it was stressors, right? Moving for time, having people yell at you, having hostage scenarios and all this other stuff. And um like literally having to like move with a weapon as fast as possible and hit a target, presenting weapons in a proper what's it called? It was absolutely amazing. Um and this is highly recommended for you individuals out there is to become a shooter. Do not become a marksman. Now, it, I'm not trying to knock on people. I would much rather you be a marksman and understand that than nothing at all, right? Really, I would. Any shooting, any ability to shoot is good, right? But this is the level to move you into becoming a proficient. I can't say that word. um a proficient individual in the skills of shooting, right? So that's a big thing that I wanted to start to discuss was understanding the difference between being a shooter and a marksman. And what you should start to vie for is becoming a shooter. Negative. Um, all right. So with that said, though, let's have a discussion real quick because I know the question's going to come up. Like, okay, you're talking about as a shooter, like understanding weapons and weapons platforms and all this other stuff as to what to do. Like, what what should I get into if I don't own any weapons, if I don't understand this stuff? What should I start off with? Well, two platforms that I specifically, well, actually, let's talk about three. Um, but more specifically, there's two platforms that I think that anybody who is looking to become a shooter, what they should purchase. The first one is going to be obviously an AR platform, an AR-15 that shoots 5.56. Most people understand this, but the 5.56 or the 223 is simply just the diameter, right? It's pretty much a 22 round. It's just got a lot more powder behind it, and it's got bigger a bigger bullet, right? The recoil on an AR is very manageable, so much so that it was initially designed by Colt. It was designed for civilians, and the creator of the AR made it for his, I believe, either wife or girlfriend. They're also very light. The magazine is very easily interchangeable. And it's a very simple operating platform. With that said, it's also very easy to shoot. And there are plenty of them in case some things were to happen in the world that you would be able to either interchange parts or just pick them up and know how to use it. The second weapon that I would recommend someone purchase is a Glock 17. I became a Glock fanboy after going through that course. We were using Glock 19s, but I had a friend that allowed me to borrow his Glock 17. When I kind of realized that the Glock 19 was a little bit too small for me, and I was having issues, not with magazines, but actually with my placement, because I got some big mitts, right? Look at those things. And my thumb, no matter how much I tried to side stack my thumbs, I still was clipping the slide a little bit with my thumb, and it was causing a bunch of malfunction. So I'm a fan of the full, especially if you're new to this. I highly recommend you get a full pistol grip pistol with a full 5-inch barrel as well. Whatever. At this point in time, I'm already shadow banned. It really doesn't matter. I can just kind of say whatever, but I appreciate it. Anyway, plenty of ARs and F chicken stand right now. Love it. So that's what I would start off with. However, if you're also looking for something that's home defense, a shotgun. A shotgun is always going to be something that is amazing to have for home defense. But when it comes to marksmanship and the fundamentals of marksmanship and shooting, the shotgun is kind of a whole different story. It's not a whole different story, but it's not as precise. There's a lot of ways that you could kind of cheat it, and it doesn't fit into like the basic rules of marksmanship as well. So, but it's a good home defense. So if you could do that, yeah, absolutely. An 870 or a Moss 500, perfect pump. I, on the other hand, I'm looking at a different one because whatever. Either way, just get yourself a basic shotgun that you could let it sit there and rust and collect dust and all that other stuff because it's still going to run. Mossberg, Remington 870, perfect. Grab one of those. But if you really want to start getting into the kind of the shooter aspect of stuff, Glock 17, AR-15, that's where you should start off with. Get a decent AR-15 as well. None of these Bushmasters or any of that stuff. Get something that's in the 1200 or up range. You don't have to go Gucci and go LWRC or Daniel's Defense or any of these other ones to start off with. You could find some good companies. I'm sure Phil Franklin will throw a few moderately priced, good quality builds or gun manufacturers that you could purchase. So rock and roll that way. With that said, those are the two things that I would practice with. I would obviously start off with marksmanship first. Get to know the weapon first. Get to know how it shoots. Understand the fundamentals of that. Sight all your weapons in, and then start to progress into the shooter role. Now, one of the things that I always highly recommend, I'm a big fan, always of doing additional classes. So take some of your money, give it over to a professional, and go to a specific class that teaches you the skills that I'm talking about right now. It's going to be worth it. And then as you become more proficient and more skilled with those things, then you could start to progress into the other things like a concealed carry, buying different higher level weapons, different things that you could change in, change out, all that other stuff. But the basic fundamentals need to be there first. Now, the other thing that I want to talk about too is this, like, there's a reason why the AR-15 is used in the military. I remember going through boot camp. I've never shot one of those things, but I did grow up shooting. And this is something that I'm going to get into next as to how you at home could become proficient with shooting and marksmanship in your own home, very cheap, right? Going through the fundamentals. But one of the things that we used to do in boot camp was we would sit there and we'd snap in on a barrel for hours and hours and hours, literally getting into each position, no magazine in the rifle, cocking the what's it called? The charging charging handle. There we go. Cocking into the rear every single time. Boom, click. All right. Charging handle. Boom, click, right? Snapping in, sight picture, sight alignment, all that good stuff on a barrel that had the silhouette targets on each one of those. And that's all we would do is just sit there for hours. Boring, dry, just doing it over and over. And I would literally get myself in the zone every single time for that. And it was epic. It was epic. So with that said, I mean, there's a lot of cool new sights. I'm a huge fan of learning iron sights first. We shot iron sights in boot camp on the range. I thought that was absolutely imperative to know how to shoot with iron sights first. You don't need to get amazing, crazy optics when you first start off with. As a matter of fact, I recommend you don't. Learn the mechanics first of it with iron sights and then add something Gucci to it later on. If I were to redo if I were to redo it, we'll get into sights maybe at a later time, right? Because we could get into all sorts of Gucci stuff. But you could start off with like just a good red dot, and I'm sure that Phil Franklin can throw a good red dot in there. That's relatively decent priced. The only downfall with the red dot is they're usually only accurate out to 200 yards. Anything beyond that is going to be a little bit difficult. With iron sights, we were able to hit a dog target out to 500 yards with iron sights, which is the silhouette of a human torso, right? Yeah, head and shoulders down to the waist. Actually, no, I think it was a little bit taller than that. That was a dog target. A little bit taller than that, but yeah, a human. So that's pretty legit. That's why I highly recommend that specific platform as well. You can reach out and touch somebody. You can put them down. 30 rounds, all that other stuff. Very, very good. Glock 17 is a full 5-inch. Very easy to manipulate. Big time Glock fanboy now. Love them, love them, love them. They shoot so well. Love the single safety feature on them. You guys would love it too. So rock and roll that way. And it's 9mm, so you're going to enjoy shooting. Now, as we all see what's going on in the world today, lots of inflation. Lots and lots and lots of inflation. We're seeing it hit all sorts of stuff, but primarily we're also seeing it hit the ammunition, right? We're seeing it hit ammunition, where ammunition is hard to find. And if it's not hard to find, it's really expensive. So I was fortunate enough, like I said, to grow up shooting, to grow up practicing fundamentals. And then I was also fortunate enough to join the military, where I was able to keep those skills honed and go through a lot of ammunition, right? For those of you that are just starting to get into this, that is not the case. That's not the case, right? So we're going to have to figure out in this point in time, right? Because a lot of people hold back and they're like, man, I no pun intended here. Actually, there is a pun intended. Pull the trigger on purchasing these firearms and purchasing ammunition. But now I'm not going to be able to go and practice because I want to save all that ammo for if things go down, right? So what do you do? What do you do? Well, I have a solution, and this is how I grew up. This is how I grew up shooting. This is how I grew up becoming so proficient with weapons. And it was through shooting BB guns. I know that sounds stupid. I know that sounds absolutely stupid. But it's what taught me. It's what taught me the fundamentals of marksmanship and how to have patience and control my breathing, control my body, get myself in there. So what do I recommend? I recommend that you purchase a BB gun rifle. If you can find one that's similar to an AR platform, if you're going to purchase an AR, please go ahead and do so. I had a little Daisy one that was just a pump, right? No CO2, just the pump, right? So I didn't have any additional cost, and I could literally just sit there. It wasn't really bolt action, but it was bolt action, right? And I would just sit there, and I had a little steel trap. It was mainly for pellets, but you could use it with BBs. You can find these all on Amazon, by the way. It had 4 steel posts and then a 5th one in the middle. The 4 steel posts had a magnet on the back, and whenever I hit it, it would fall down. And then I'd hit the 5th one, and then they'd all come back up. And I would sit downstairs in my basement for hours at a time, practicing hitting things as efficiently as possible. And that's where I learned marksmanship. I kind of taught it myself, right? And I became very, very proficient with rifle shooting at a very young age due to that. And the cost is super, super, super cheap, right? Especially if you have that pump one, right? If you get a CO2 one, you're gonna have to throw that in there, which brings me to my next point. There are, and I think Philip just mentioned this, but I'm gonna go a little bit further. Get a good realistics airsoft AR, can use it for drills and force-on-force training. Perfect. Only problem with that is they use CO2, right? I was going to say the same exact thing. You can get a really good, I found these on Amazon. You can get a perfect replica Glock 17 airsoft gun / BB gun. Only downfall is it takes a CO2 canister, the small little ones, but it actually gives you recoil as well, not a lot. And it does the exact same thing where you have to change out magazines, and then you could point and shoot, and you could get all sorts of little tools, right, to help out with your marksmanship as well. There's all sorts of little things, like I was going to get that trap again that I talked about, the 4 and the 1, but then there's all sorts of other ones that are similar to, like, I'm going to butcher this, I don't know, like 3-gun shooting or IDPA. I believe it's IDPA. Like the tree, right? It's got like 5 on it, and it floats around, and all sorts of different stuff. You can get those online for BB guns, and they're super cheap, and you could do them at home in your basement in a closed location, right? And the cool part about that is afterwards, after you have your marksmanship down with just those, right? Because what you're going to be doing is you're going to be practicing the fundamentals. That's really all that matters, is practicing the fundamentals to get you there, right? Then you could start to move into the scenarios of becoming a shooter as well, and practicing drawing from a holster, practicing a concealed setup, moving, taking a knee, combat reload, right? Shooting 2, empty chamber, reload, slide, point and shoot, and do all that stuff. Do you recommend Mario Duck Hunt for target practice? I do not. But like I said, going back into this. So what I found was, I believe right now that Glock 17 replica that I'm talking about is like $70. You can buy a whole bunch of BBs, like 500 BBs for like $13. You can purchase the trap that I discussed, and then like 3 other accuracy rigs, right? For, I think they're each $19. So you can literally walk away spending $200 and be able to like shoot at home 500 rounds. I mean, and you get to reuse BBs too, by the way, especially if they're in a trap or whatever. Reuse BBs, get a magnet to clean them up all up on your floor or whatever, or just buy more. I mean, $13 for 500 is nothing. And you could sit there at home and you could just practice this, practice drawing, practice smooth trigger squeeze, practice your sight alignment, sight picture, practice your marksmanship there, and then move into something further. So you don't have to be rich for you to practice this stuff. And then once you get all those things down, go to the range every once in a while, once a month, once every 2 months, and practice on your real weapons. Right? And it's absolutely perfect. I like the G23 with light. Preference. I'm not, so I had to service carry a Glock 22 and qualify with that just recently for the company that I was working with previously. I personally did not like it. I did not like it. It was way snappier than the 9mm. It was more all over the place. It wasn't as reliable to put on the target, and it wasn't as fun to shoot. Now, this was a service weapon. Normally what I would do is I would add some goodies to it to make it a little bit more of a fun shooting experience, make it a little bit more accurate or whatever, but that's me. But I did not like the 40. I didn't like the 40 cal. Did not like it. I like Glock. I thought it was a good gun. I just preferred the 17 over the 22. So, you like in shooting sporting clays? I actually do. It's very fun. It's one of the things I got to do a lot of when I was younger. Mainly because the highest. Sorry, how can I word this? The most hunting that I would do, the hunting that I would do most often. There we go. Sorry, brain is fried right now from jujitsu and lifting. But the most hunting that I would do was for pheasant growing up. So clay shooting was perfect practice for pheasant and chucker, especially chucker, because chucker move as fast or faster than the clay. So thought that was awesome. But again, we're talking shotgun. The reality, especially for most people today, especially in most scenarios, are you really going to be wanting to use a shotgun any time outside of a home defense scenario? No. Why is that? Shotguns are large. They can start to get pretty heavy depending on which ones you use, and they don't hold a whole lot of ammunition, right? So there's that, right? The highest On a pump or a semi-auto, your standard style shotgun, the most I think that they can hold is maybe 8, maybe, right? 7+1, maybe 8+1. Now, if you start to get into the bull pump designs that are out there now today, like the KSG, uh, SMP, or sorry, Smith and Wesson just came out with a SMP shotgun, pretty cool looking. I think that holds 14. I'm not sure. It just came out. I am a huge fan of I'm a huge fan of the DP12. That's my baby. That's what I would purchase next over all the other bull pump designs. That's just me. But those bull pump designs are heavy, 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 heavy. We're talking 12 pounds without. I'm pretty sure it's 12 pounds without ammo. Maybe it's 12 pounds with, but either way, they're upwards of 9 to 10 pounds without ammo. So, automatic Russian shotgun. Yeah, that thing was pretty cool too. Yeah. So that's my take on all this stuff, guys. Those are the basic level things for you to start really focusing on. Those are the basic concepts and basic ideas. Now, when it comes to it, like I said, nice 25 round drum on my shotgun. How much does that thing weigh? Right? Are you going to be lugging that thing around in any scenario? That's really what you got to start to think about. Like, for instance, when I was in Afghanistan, I was working closely with SAS, and I was working closely with a special operations team as well. And they were carrying, actually, the Brits, the Brit Royal Marines were carrying Lewis Machine and Tool AR-10 308. They were using that as their designated marksman rifle. And after some time of carrying a few 308 cartridges, 20 rounds, and carrying that thing around, which weighed in at about 12 pounds as well, it got heavy. It got heavy after what's it called? After patrolling. That's why the yeah, it's crazy. It sounds crazy, but 12 pounds after humping for a long time, being exhausted, trying to hold it up and aim in with it, 12 pounds, unless you train with it for a long time, is going to get heavy. That's why the AR platform, honest to goodness, how light it is, it's an amazing platform. People do not account for that. They don't account for that. That holding something up out in front of you that long, right, while you're doing something that important, it needs to be light. And that's why that AR platform is fucking epic. It's absolutely epic. Can't change my mind on that. A lot of people talk about AKs. Shot a few times. They're fun. I'd get some just to have fun with, but I mean, it doesn't beat out the AR platform. Now, I'm very interested to see what they're doing now with the 6.8s, right? The 6.8 Creedmoors, right? They're putting those into a AR platform. A lot of cool stuff that are coming out right now. And definitely want to take a look at that to see how that is. But I think it's still going to be pretty difficult to beat out the 5.56 on the AR platform. It's just tried and tested. It's a battle hardened it's a battle hardened platform, man. You know, you can't surpass it, honestly. Oh yeah. No, 6.8, yeah, Creedmoor, right? 6 No, oh shit. It is 6.5 Creedmoor. What's the 6.8 then? Because they're coming out with a 6.8. I believe, right? The I just saw a video on it. 6.8 by 5.1, I think. Western Ballistics came out with a pretty cool little platform with plastic ammunition. 6.8 Western. Yeah, 6.8 Western. There you go. 6.5 Creedmoor. You're right. Huh. Cool. So it's compared to like the 270 in a way. Yeah, the 6.5 shoots flatter. Has a better MOA too, I believe. SOCOM selected. What are they using the 6.5 on an AR platform though? Or are they using that for their DMs or snipers? That's something to consider. but I'm pretty sure I saw a 6.8 plastic round that they're using now that they just tested. Plastic cased ammo? Yeah. I'm looking at a task and purpose video right now. I saw something online the other day, I think from Surefire. That's a good channel to check out too if you want to see a lot of good stuff in this realm that I'm discussing. Surefire's got a lot of cool stuff. Dude, come on, get to the fucking point. Anyway, all right, I'm over it. A rifle prototype, chambered, 6.5 CT. Oh, but then developed an LSAT into a 6.8 millimeter cartridge designed for the next generation squad weapon prototype. Yep. Yeah, that thing's sick. I want to check that thing out so bad. From General Dynamics, NGSW prototype weapons. If you guys have the time, go check that out. I mean, this is getting a little bit too outside the realms of like basic level, foundational, fundamental stuff, but I mean, I definitely get on board with a lot of this shit. We talking guns? Yes, we're talking guns. Hell yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, 6.5. I think so too. I mean, that's a good call to move it over to 6.5. Next time we chat guns, all this other good stuff, we'll talk concealed. We'll talk concealed carry. We'll get into that as well. I highly recommend all of you go out, depending on what state you're in, to go out and get your concealed firearm permit as soon as possible and purchase a concealed firearm. Fuck it. We'll talk about it. We got some time. Anyway. So, what do I recommend for a concealed carry? It depends on environment. It really depends on environment. It depends on environment. Hey, what's up, dude? Good to see you. We're talking guns. See, Twitter friend. I told you guys, go and become friends with me on Twitter. We'll chat, keep things going. Anyway, let's talk about concealed. Fuck it, we might as well move over to that direction because I think that first off, I'm a true believer in constitutional carry. I think that every state should allow everyone to conceal carry. I think that we'd be a far better. I think we've had this discussion as well on Twitter. I was telling you what to look at. I'm going to go into it, but this is a good conversation for that. And I think you're up in. I don't know if you want me to give away your location, but I think in your county where you're at, I think you actually have a pretty good chance of getting a concealed carry permit. I think you do. Me, not so much. I've been waiting a fucking year to get my interview. Anyway, yeah, let's talk about that. Depending on your location is kind of the idea of where you want to go as far as understanding your how you want to conceal and all that other stuff. One of the things that was brought up to me was the fact that I live in San Diego. I live in Southern California. It's literally 75 practically all year long. So it's board shorts and t-shirt weather, right? And, like for right now, like even right now, I'm wearing fucking jean shorts and a t-shirt. So what am I going to be looking for if I'm going to carry? And let's say even if I'm dressed up professionally, because I am a certified executive protection specialist, right? Even if I am wearing something more professional, I may just be wearing slacks and a vest, right? A slacks and a blazer or whatever, and it's going to be lighter material. So understanding what printing is being able to see the outline of the pistol, right? Which kind of defeats the purpose of concealed carrying because you don't want people to know, right? So with that said, I am a fan of single stack 9mm pistols because of the types of clothing that I'm going to be wearing year round. So that's the type of pistol that I want to carry, right? So for me personally, what are some good single stack 9mm pistols that are legal in the state of California? We're usually talking either the Glock 43, which is very hard to get your hands on, or an M&P Shield 9mm. If I could have it my way, what I would purchase is the Glock 43X because it has a larger pistol grip. And you could get some really, well, yeah, you could do that even with that, but it has a larger pistol grip. So I won't run into the issue that I ran into with the Glock 19. So then some people sit there and say, why not the Glock 19? Well, the Glock 19 is double stacked, right? So it means that the width of the slide is going to be wider, right? So that means that your printing is going to be there. However, I know, for instance, people in this chat are going to say, you should go with the Glock 19. It's easy to come across. It's an awesome platform. It really is an awesome platform. I loved it, even though it was a little bit too small for me. But the problem with that is printing. So for some people, they like that because you can get a few more extra rounds out of it and all that other stuff in comparison to having a single stack. And they can carry it because, you know, once autumn or fall comes around or the winter, they're going to be wearing heavier clothing and they don't need to worry about that, right? Even so much so they could probably even carry a 17, even though that's not really, you could, right? Get away with that. Me personally, I own, I mean, fuck, it's documented. I own an SMP Shield or SMP. I own a Smith and Wesson. Yeah, it's SMP Shield, M&P Shield rather. Yeah, and here she is. This is my shield. Very awesome, nice. As you can see, it's not loaded, which I will also show you. Clear. It's an amazing pistol. It really is. I like this too better than the 19 because it has an extended grip here as well. And with the magazine in, it fits very well in my hand, right? You can kind of see right there. And I can still get my thumbs in the right position to be able to shoot. Very accurate. Really awesome. Yeah, the G43X is really easy to conceal too as well, even though it has the bigger grip. Like I said, though, it's a single stack. You can see how thin it is, right? In comparison to my finger, that's pretty much what it, let's get it there. There we go. It's pretty much the width of my finger. In some spots, it's thinner than my finger. Very, very awesome pistol. However, so I like it. Very accurate out of the box. I like that it has this grip length. It's longer than the Glock 19, especially with this extended. It's got a little attachment for extension for the mag so that I got a better grip on it too. It's a very crisp pistol. The downfall though is this, and I'm going to share this one little thing. There's a couple things that I don't like. The trigger can really be worked on. I don't like the swivel trigger. That could be worked on. There's some other things that I did a review on about this that I didn't really like about it. But the biggest thing that I don't like is this. And this is what I like the most about Glock. Yeah, not a lot of muzzle flip either. The biggest thing is this. So I want you to see the side. It's racked to the rear. The profile. Man, I wish I could get better lighting on this. The slide release. Okay. The slide release is very, very difficult to manipulate. I have to. So on a Glock, dude, Glocks are fucking awesome. I can literally, the second I slam home the magazine, Glocks are usually sending the slide home, and I'm ready to fire within a second. This one, as soon as I load the magazine in, I have to grab the rear in order to get it back on target, right? Because the slide release is so close and it's so crisp. It's for, what's it called? For shooting as fast as I can shoot, this isn't the ideal. So I would prefer, if I could redo it all, I would prefer to have the, what's it called? The Glock 43X. And hopefully when I move soon, I'm hoping to move soon, I can purchase one. That'd be amazing. Now, there's one other single stack, thinly, I don't know if it's single stack. I think it's single stack. Philip Franklin, correct me if I'm wrong. But it is more high capacity than the other ones. The new Springfield Hellcat. If you guys can get your hands on one of those too, I haven't shot it yet, but from everything I've heard about this thing, it's the fucking bee's knees. It really is the bee's knees. And that's a hella awesome platform. Now, everything I'm talking about so far when it comes to pistol has been a 9mm. Why is that? Everyone, the ballistics of the 9mm today, fantastic. Fantastic, right? The second thing is you're really only going to be shooting within what, 7, 10 yards maximum. And when you're going to be shooting, you're not going to be shooting just once. You're going to be shooting 3 to 4 shots, failure to stop drill, 2 to the chest, 1 to the head, maybe another one for good luck, right? Or you're going to go fucking full mag dump, right? Like, you're better off having a pistol that has a higher capacity and good ballistics than having a pistol that has a high bang for its buck where you're going to have to manage recoil, right? Is there a max capacity to carry in California? I think so. I think it's 8+1 or 8+2. Yep, there you go. 8+2, 10. So, or 8+2. Sorry. Retarded. I'm talking on my ass right now. So it's 10. Where you could go 9+1 or a full 10-round magazine. And you could get mag extensions and do a whole bunch of different stuff for these things. So yeah, it's 10 for pistol. So those are my recommendations. If you can find a Glock 43X, state of California, I think it's only legal for what's it called? For federal law enforcement or law enforcement. Glock side tight as fuck on mine. Wow. I've never. The extension of it is awesome. So I think you might just have to put some more rounds through it or get it worked on. But I like the feeling of it. This one is way too close to the slide, and it's way too hard to manipulate. But yeah, I still love this thing though. It's fucking dead accurate. It's amazing. Going back to the Glock 43X, that's the one that I would go through, but you have to be a Fed or a police officer to purchase it. They're still hard to come by. Or what you can do is you could have an LEO sell it to you, right? So you'd have to contact or find someone that's a Fed, or not a Fed, a police officer, law enforcement agent, to give that to you. Will you be speaking at the 21 convention? I haven't gotten an invite, so no. If you'd like for me to, I mean, I've had some words about Anthony Johnson in the past. As a matter of fact, that was when I was kind of like under the spell of the Rule Zero tribe. And I said what I said, but I think that, how can I explain this? I think that what Anthony has done, even though I think he's a bit weird, I think he's got some quirks about him, but I think what he's doing is good stuff. Just like I kind of feel about Jake Paul. Do I 100% agree with him all the time? Do I think the way he's doing business is the way I would do business? No, not necessarily. But, I would like to formally apologize to Anthony Johnson for some of the things that I said about him, especially after finding out all the things that he said about these individuals were true. I had to find out by myself, though. So there's that. I'd love to speak there. That'd be cool. But anyway, getting back to it. Hellcat, MMP Shield, or the Glock 43/Glock 43X for those single stack carries. Glock 19 for sure if you want to carry a double stack. Obviously, be careful with the printing on that, but awesome platforms. Even the MMP 2.0 is something that I would be interested in. I'm curious to see if the MMP 2.0 has the same issue that I'm having with the slide release. But I like those platforms as well. So there's that. Thank you very much for the super chat. He didn't say anything. He just donated dollars, which I appreciate tremendously. Where the fuck are the rest of you guys at? I think you and Anthony would be great paired up together to take the 21 convention to the next level. I wish there was a way for me to contact them. I don't know how to contact them. But that would be cool. Yeah, I'd be all about it. To discuss all the stuff that I discuss and so forth. So if you have a way, that'd be cool. Thank you. Let's see. There's a question up here. Yo, Lysander, do you find it effed up that pigs will always ask you if you have a gun, even going so fair to tell you it's legal to have one, trying to trap someone into saying they have one in the glove box so they can pop you for a concealed gun charge? How often do they try to entrap women with those types of questions? What I find more disturbing is the fact that, I've kind of highlighted and outlined the length of. Ooh, that's a good question. I The length in the amount of stuff that I've gone through, and I haven't even talked about that. Oh yeah, the MMP 2.0 has the same issue. I have one. Yeah, that kind of sucks, man. And I wish there was something. The cool part about Glock is that there's so many parts out there for you to be able to add on. I wish that the MMP had something like that too, where I could throw an extended slide release on there. I know that they have. Hive has an extended mag release, which is what I want to put on there too. That was my other discrepancy with this, besides the trigger, is that the mag release is also too flush. I want an extended mag release on there. But if they had an extended slide release, that would make it so much better. Excuse me. All right. So where was I? I went all over the place. Oh, what drives me crazy is the fact that I've been through all this stuff. I was what's it called? I was a accredited counterintelligence agent in the military, went through all sorts of crazy stuff, was attached to special operations, did all this crazy stuff, all this weapons training. And yet I still have to prove to people that I'm capable of carrying a fucking weapon. And oh yeah, you can't own these specific types of weapons. Only this LEO can do it. So you're telling me you can go through a 3-month fucking course, a 3-month academy, get your creds as a police officer and go in and buy all these weapons. But here I have, what am I, 36, and I've been shooting since I was 3. Seriously, I've been shooting since I was 3 years old. That's like my dad bought me my first BB gun when I was 5, and that's what I became interested in. But I started shooting at 3 years old, believe it or not. Anyway, you're telling me that I can't own specific guns, even though I'm a combat tested. Anyway, sorry, that drives me fucking nuts. Drives me nuts. So there's that. What's your thoughts on pistol caliber carbines? 100% in love with them. I'm in love with them. I want to own a whole lot of them. I want to get a CZ Scorpion Micro, I believe it's called. Yeah, the Scorpion. The MMPX looks pretty nasty too. Yeah, no worries. I wanted to reach out to you too, by the way, now that I'm back. Before, when we were emailing, I was working all sorts of crazy hours and couldn't keep up with my emails and stuff like that. So I'll hit you up. Anyway, so yeah, pistol caliber carbines, I'm 100% a fan. I think that they're going to be amazing training tools in the future. I think that they're also really, really good for home defense as well, if that's something that you want to get into. Because let's be honest too, like a shotgun, for instance, might be a little bit scary, because even like, let's say you have it double-aught buck or slugs in it, that shit can still go through walls and all that other shit. Whereas, I mean, I know some people talk about, why not just go 300 blackout, go subsonic or whatever. I think pistol carbines or pistol caliber carbines are fucking epic. Would love to get me some in 45 and 9mm for sure, and just have more fun shooting and rocking and rolling that way. Some states are constitutional carry, no fees or classes required. 100% agree with it. I think I really do truly believe that the Second Amendment is intended to be that the constitutional carry law. I really do. I believe the Second Amendment, when you say shall not be infringed, should make it so that all Americans can carry however they see fit. Not a big fan of open carry, but hey, you know what? If you open carry, more power to you. Not a fan of it. I think people should be concealed carry. I think when people understand, they're carrying around loaded weapons and all this other stuff, that they're going to be more polite and respectful towards other people, because they never know who's going to have one. And I think that people are going to take more responsibility for things. You're not seeing any issues really arise out of this stuff. So And again, dangerous freedom. I'd rather have dangerous freedom than the fucking bullshit that we're living in today, right? This fucking bubble wrap society where every step of the way, people are scared of fucking germs now. They're scared of the flu. Like, get out of here. Anyway, probably shouldn't have said that, but whatever. Cool. Are you officially a part of the Manosphere? I've been a part of the Manosphere for a while. I appreciate that. Yeah, I've been part of this for going on 3 some odd years now. So, rock and roll to that question. But I appreciate your other comments as well. Greetings from South Florida. Anybody have any comments? Any other questions, comments before I get rocking and rolling? It's getting hot in here. I need to turn my fucking AC on. Any questions about guns, marksmanship training, so on and so forth? Even fragrances. Well, I'm not seeing any questions, but oof, that's a tough one. Thoughts on the Taurus G2C? Not. I'll get into. Sorry, I'll do this one really quick. I don't think it's the cable. I think it's the microphone. And if I'm going to get a new microphone, I'm going to get a better one because this shouldn't have died after a year and a half. Thank you. Philip just got to it. Taurus isn't reliable. The metallurgy on that, the way that they produce those pistols. So the way that things are done is whenever a gun company produces their weapons and mass, they have to go through micrometers and have measurements and all this other stuff done. And they're just not, that's the reason why their reliability is so low, because they don't go through those processes. They're probably using inferior materials and all this other stuff. And that's why they're also very cheap. Now, on the other hand, I know that we have a guy, well, the judge is from Taurus, right? I would fuck around with the judge. I think that thing is pretty cool. Shooting 410 shells out of a pistol is pretty cool. So that's probably the only one I would get, and I would just get it as a novelty gun. I wouldn't be carrying it, and I would just have a little bit of fun with that. Do you include hunting in your gun skills? No, because hunting is a different skill. Hunting is a different skill entirely, and that's something else. We'll get into this later. If you haven't read my second book, Purging Feminism, I talk about hunting and hunting skills in there and how that does need to be a need for people to understand how to do that. Here's where it'll go from here, because now we can start going into segue stuff, because I know last time people were talking to me about bladed weapons and training in bladed weapons and all this other stuff. Once you get the foundations of shooting down, once you become proficient in becoming a shooter, right? Not just a marksman, but becoming a shooter, then you could throw new things into your repertoire. Go and learn new skills, go and learn a whole bunch of other stuff. But the fact of the matter is, and this is something that I really should have hit on earlier, is I talked about guns being the greatest equalizer. If someone is coming at you to assault you, pull out a gun. If you don't know you're going to win the fight, if you're backed into a corner, all this other stuff, if multiple people are coming at you, pull out a gun and shoot them, right? Self-defense, I should say, right? Great equalizer. You could be 150 pounds soaking wet, whatever type of muscle, but if you and I get into a scrap, you're probably going to lose, and you don't know what kind of damage I'm going to do to you. That's why you should train to be a shooter. Numerous other scenarios, right? So that's why I think people need to be shooters, because that's still, what am I trying to say? That's still the great equalizer, right? That really is. That's why if you add up all three, lifting, fighting, shooting, you are 100% now. No, I shouldn't say 100%, but you're pretty damn near. Odds are in your favor that you're going to be able to self-defend in the most optimal levels. Okay. Thoughts on Rolo and the Rule Zero cult? I've talked about this previously. We're starting to see it now. We're starting to see it come out with a lot of different people involved in that space, that the scamming is real. The gatekeeping and all this other shit is real. I said this in my Vet Your Gurus video as well. Like, here's the thing. Vet your fucking gurus. Vet your gurus. If these people are gonna sit here and tell you how to be, why don't they have the same results? If they're gonna give you tips on how to be more masculine, on how to be more alpha, or any of this other stuff, why don't they have the same results? If they're going to sit there and they're going to talk to you about lifting, maybe they should actually have some muscle mass. Maybe they should have some discipline when it comes to stuffing their face with food. Maybe they shouldn't be fucking 20% body fat, right? When it comes to game, they should be able to back up the fact that they were able to pull women and source women and relationships in their life abundantly, right? That's all I have to say about that, honestly. Yeah. I'm just at, I'm not a big, I really don't. Hang on, I don't understand. I don't like how Rolo, Rich, and John MLD treated you. You were done wrong. I appreciate that. I really do. I appreciate that. At the same time, too, it is what it is. What it is at the end of the day. It is what it is at the end of the day. I believe that I'm a valuable asset. They lost a valuable asset. They really did. The thing that I was also going to talk about was this. I'm not a big fan of talking shit. I've done 2 videos so far where I've replied back. I did the here's my receipts video, and then I did a video a couple weeks ago about the whole Myron thing and exposing some stuff and all this other shit. I hate doing that stuff. I really do. But I'm also not going to be the type of person that's going to sit there be a person with no teeth and try to sit back on my high horse and be like, oh, karma's going to get them and all this other shit, right? So that's the thing. But at the end of the day, too, I don't care. I think that, we have now seen with the rise of Kevin Samuels, a lot of Black Manosphere stuff, a lot of those channels are becoming way more popular. They're moving the discussion further as far as red pill Manosphere topics. They're bringing it into the mainstream. Me personally, I never really wanted, what's it called? I never really wanted to be, I believe that my purpose is bigger than just serving the Manosphere. I really do. I think that was just a chapter in my book, because what I really want to do is I want to move the conversation even further. And what are the goals? What are the things that I'm trying to create? What is my bigger purpose? Well, we all see the issue that has become with modernism and the culture that it has created here in our society today. And I think we're starting to see this with people more on the side of like the Taliban, all this other stuff that's going on, with people really observing the way that the media is, with the state of the technical, or not technical, but the techno corporatism that we're seeing with Silicon Valley, with the pharmaceutical shit, with the military industrial complex, with all of this. I think people are really starting to see how bad this has become. And it's all due to a lack of culture. It really is. So what's the direction? What is the direction? And that's the answer that I have, believe it or not. My next book that I just recently finished writing, I answer all the questions. Purging Feminism started to lead the conversation in that direction, but now I have the answers. Hey, here's how you fucking set up a new society. Here's how you set up a new culture. This has to be the tenets of it. And that's really, truly the direction I wanted to go. But the Manosphere piece was part of the solution. It wasn't the whole solution. And that's really where a lot of these guys go wrong. We were already starting to disagree towards the end of my whole thing as to the direction that we should move forward. Because what did I start saying? I started saying, hey guys, we need to stop talking about game. We need to stop talking about it right now because it's not the priority. Is game important? Sure. I recommend that people practice game and understand gaming, because that is part of the sexual dynamic that is part of our culture. It's part of us as a species, all this other stuff. But should this be the priority right now? And I simply said no. I said no. We're approaching right now an economic collapse Right now it's trending upward, but what we're calling is booming upward, right? We're going to see some crazy stuff go on with the economy, with the housing market, all this other stuff. We're going to see a civil war style type of thing where there's a divide of culture happen within our country and other countries. And we're probably going to be seeing a third world war as well. It's like, all right, if that's the case, what do we need to focus on? And this is why I give you the 3 foundations of masculine discipline that we need to focus on right now. Because guess what? At the end of the day, when things are this chaotic, who are you going to have to rely on? What skills are you going to have to bring to the table for you to belong to a tribe that's going to be able to protect your back and make sure that you have some resources and maybe have some women, right? These are the skills you're going to need. These are the skills you're going to need. You don't need to get a fucking dating app course. You don't need to get a fucking how to text her back course, how to pimp my Instagram course, or any of this other bullshit right now. You don't need to learn salt game about banging dirty hoes on fucking, what's it called? SA, right? Seeking arrangements, even though I don't know if that's much of a thing anymore. You don't need that right now. What you need to be doing is you need to be preparing. That other stuff is just burying your head in the sand with more fucking, what's it called? With more entertainment and instant gratification, right? That's really, I saw this happening a year and a half ago. I called this a year and a half ago when I started promoting my book back then. And so I said, hey, we need to shift the conversation, guys. There needs to be a new priority. The problem is the new priority requires work. It requires effort. It requires pain. It requires being uncomfortable. It really does. I told you guys this, the 3 things: lifting, fighting, shooting. All these things are going to be new skills to you, new things that are going to bring in new levels of you feeling like a fucking idiot. Getting in the gym, lifting weights, right? You're going to go through some physical pain. You're going to go through some mental pain and emotional pain. Learning how to fight. You're really going to fucking hate it when you first start. You're really going to hate it. You're going to feel like a fucking idiot. Your body's going to be in pain. Your joints are going to be hurt. You're going to make every fucking excuse in the book to never go back. I promise you this. I promise you this. And then when it comes to shooting, what's the excuses going to be? Oh my God, they're scary. Oh my God, can I trust myself with that? Oh my God, the federal this. Oh my God, ammunition's this much. Oh my God, the price of this is that much money. Holy shit, I can't do this. It's stupid. Oh man, that course is $1,000 plus I have to pay for ammo. Oh my goodness. It's like, no. Like, this is the direction your focus needs to be. This is where the red pill needs to start moving towards. This is where the manosphere needs to start moving towards. But you know what I've learned about the manosphere, especially as of late? Most men in the manosphere are just as addicted to the comfortable lie as the rest of the blue pillars are out there. Honestly, because most people don't want to face reality. We are approaching a divergence right now where resources are going to become scarce and you're going to have to fight to either protect or procure. And it's probably going to get ugly. And most people have been raised in a morality system that teaches them to be nice and to be kind, and that to protect yourself and possibly take life is evil. Like, that is not the way of the warrior. That is not the way of the warrior. Right? Anyway. Thank you. I appreciate that. So, facts. Exactly. The only difference between the Weimar Republic at this point in time and where we're at is that we're crashing upwards. We're not crashing downwards. It's the same thing with like the stock market, right? Stock market crash. It crashed downwards, which caused all sorts of panic. People are so fucking idiotic right now and not understanding this crashing upwards that they're buying fucking things called NFTs. And they're paying millions of dollars for this clip art to anyway. It just goes to show the level of retardation that people are at right now with their spending power and purchasing power and all this other stuff. They don't realize like, yo, it's an illusion. It's an illusion. Like, the only anyway. Soapbox, right? Anyway, gents, Oh, hey now. Melt ups lead up to crash downs and vice versa. Exactly. All right, guys. No idea when I'll be back, but I had a pleasure having this discussion with you today. I hope you really enjoyed my take on the 3 foundational disciplines. Thank you very much. Greatest show on earth is the comment. I very greatly appreciate that. That makes me feel good. Keep doing what you do, like your messages. Thank you very much. Compliments are welcome. I enjoy them. Always great listening, man. Thank you very much. I hope you guys got some stuff out of it. Now, here's the thing, guys. We are all in agreement that the 3 disciplines that I talked about, the 3 foundations, are important, right? If you have any friends out there, guys, there's an arrow on the fucking, what's it called? It's called sharing. Sharing is motherfucking caring. Please, 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 please. I don't care who it is. If you think anyone will get something out of it, send it to your friend. Send it to your friend. Help grow this channel a little bit more. I am shadow banned. YouTube is not going to do anything to help me grow. Share. Please. Please, 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 please. Anyway, fucking hate saying please. Just like whatever. Anyway, with that said, I don't know when I'll be back, but I'm glad I hopped on today. You guys will see the notification. It's kind of whenever I feel like talking. So we'll see. But I hope the knowledge that I gave you over the past 3 weeks was something that you guys took a lot away from. Hope it opened your eyes to some things, and I hope it gave you a good foundation to get you into those things. With that said, if you'd like to hear more from me, please do go and become friends with me on Twitter. Follow me on Twitter so you can send me some DMs. I'd be happy to hear some show topics you want to hear from me. Otherwise, if you don't want to do that because you don't like Twitter, please post a comment afterwards, after I'm done streaming here, and post some topics you'd like to hear from me in the comment section. That's going to help me be on here a little bit more as well. So the last and final thing, you'll find a PayPal, link in my description. Send me some dollars. It's only fair. Give you guys this information pretty much for free. Some donations would be nice, even though I do care about your compliments. With that said, guys, I'll see you later. Hope you enjoyed. Take care.